Hello and welcome to Quays TV News. I'm Matt Tate. It's been announced this morning that firefighters across England and Wales are striking again over pensions. This second strike will happen on 19th of October and will last for 5 hours. The third strike on the 3rd of October saw 32,000 union members walk out for 4 hours. Police have arrested a man on suspicion of murder after a body was found in a canal in Manchester. The victim has been named as 39-year-old Sean Michael Markey. A 27-year-old man remains in police custody for questioning. Labour candidate Stephen Hesling has been declared the winner in a 2013 Weast and Seedley by-election. Hesling won with a majority of 523, with Glyn Wright from UKIP in second place. The turnout was 16.6%, with over 1,500 votes cast. Labour won with a majority of 523. Now, Greater Manchester Police are holding a gun and crime conference to illustrate its dramatic reductions in gang and youth violence. The conference, which is taking place today and tomorrow, will be attended by police who deal with gun crime. Construction work went underway for the University of Salford's new Gateway project. This new building, located on Peel Park campus, will be the home to the School of Arts and Media. However, other subjects will be held there. The latest technology and state-of-the-art facilities have been implemented, and there will be a variety of recording and photography studios, computer suites and lecture theatres. The university will hope it will provide a place for students to relax and socialise as well as complete their studies. The new building is due to open in 2016. Now, Manchester has been named the wedding capital for same-sex unions. More gay and lesbian couples get married in Manchester than anywhere else in Britain. The Office for National Statistics revealed 78 male couples and 61 female couples tied the knot in the city alone last year. Now, it was a busy night in Manchester last night at the Fashion Night of the Year. Our entertainment reporter Kate Emery has all of the showbiz gossip. Over to you, Kate.
Thank you, Matt. Vogue's Fashion Night Out came to Manchester from London last night as part of the Manchester Weekender. Celebrities and fashionistas from all over came to enjoy the event. Lots of celebrities have been tweeting about the event. Chelsea Healy wrote, "I've got goosebumps and butterflies right now. Vogue Manchester have got the atmosphere in Manc on another level." Also, Jamila Jamil was DJing at the event and said, "So much fun DJing at Vogue's Fashion Night Out in Selfridges. Thanks for all the hugs and the chocolate. Love you." And finally, former Blue Peter presenter Helen Skelton confessed her love for the city by writing, "Nights like these make me love living in Manchester." Would you be upset if you couldn't buy Eccles cakes in your local Greggs bakery? Well, that's exactly what's happened, even in Eccles. Despite this news, the first Eccles Cake Festival to celebrate the pastry is still underway.
The festival is a week-long programme of events and activities to celebrate our most famous assets in Salford, the Eccles Cake. There's a range of events and activities happening for all the family, including Heritage Walk, cake cruise, cake break, heaps of things happening. They've been happening all week, and there's a lot happening this weekend.
And now joining me in the studio is Will with the latest on films. So, what's going on this week, Will?
Well, Kate, the film I recommend most, recommend might not be the right word, but it's a movie called Filth, and it's exactly what it says on the tin, Filth. It tells the story of a corrupt Edinburgh policeman played by James McAvoy in a towering performance, and he's fantastic in the movie, and he's trying to get a promotion at work by sabotaging all of his fellow policemen. And I don't think I've ever seen a movie this year really earn its 18 certificate. It is a filthy, corrupt, morally reprehensible movie, but it's so hilarious and so admirable in its attempts to offend and try to entertain its audience that it's difficult not to watch. And it's a fantastic performance from James McAvoy. The supporting cast are great as well, like Jim Broadbent as a tapeworm. You have to see the movie to explain.
Oh yeah, that sounds a bit,
I can't
different.
Yeah, I can't even explain half of the things that James McAvoy's policeman does in the movie.
James McAvoy is one of my top 10 favourites.
No, he is a great actor, and this movie does demonstrate his range. He is a fantastic actor, and it's worth seeing Filth for James McAvoy alone.
Well, that sounds like an interesting one. What else has been going on?
Well, on the other side of the spectrum, we've got a feel-good musical comedy, Sunshine on Leith, which features the music from the Proclaimers. Are you a fan of the Proclaimers?
Oh, I quite like a bit of the Proclaimers, yeah.
Now, see, I'm indifferent to them, but even I found myself smiling throughout this entire movie. It's such a good, feel-good movie. It's such a campy musical. It's the type of musical where if one person starts singing in the middle of a street, everyone else would join in and know the words. It's that type of movie.
I love a musical as well.
Yeah, and it's a great feel-good movie. It's near the end of the year. We're getting all of the grim, dark Oscar contenders, so this becomes a big slice of happy sunshine, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I really like happy films. And are you a fan of happy films? Are you a fan of?
If they're good happy films, and this is a good happy film, and this has got Jason Flemyng, one of my favourite actors, randomly breaking into song and dance in the middle of a museum, so it's instant viewing just for that. I really recommend Sunshine on Leith.
And when you say the Proclaimers, is that the all-famous 500 miles?
Yeah, you can sort of, if you know the musical library, you'll know what's coming in the movie, that somebody's got to write a letter home from America, that they're on the way from misery to happiness. In a way, the music is circumstantial to the situation, and it can be distracting. And I could critique the movie on its lackluster romance and some of its soap opera plot elements, but I just can't deny that I had a really good time. It's good seeing with a big crowd of other like-minded people. So Sunshine on Leith and Filth are two good Edinburgh movies, but completely different.
Oh, that sounds like a brilliant one. I'd love to go and see that myself.
No, it is great. Thank you.
That's all for entertainment. Remember, you can keep up to date with all the latest entertainment news on quaysnews.net. Back to you, Jess.
Thank you, Kate. Well, it's been a big week for the sport, starting off with the football ahead of the World Cup qualifier this evening, which will see England play Montenegro. QPR midfielder Joey Barton has stated that the international team are not a golden generation. He quoted saying, "I don't think we've had great players. People go on about the golden generation. I don't think we've had it because we haven't won anything." He also slammed Sir Alex Ferguson, saying he couldn't put on a coaching session to save his life. "I've spoken to people about him and he can barely lay out cones. This is not a coach, this is a manager." He then tweeted, "Anyone who thinks Fergie was a great coach is mistaken. He was a great manager, one of, if not the best these shores have ever seen." And sticking with the football, Macclesfield Town Football Club have organised an All-Stars football match to raise funds for the club. Ellie Thomason reports.
Playing non-league football is a financial struggle for any club, and Macclesfield Town are no exception. With the club recently announcing how serious their money troubles are, they have decided to host an all-star charity match to raise funds. Siltman defender Effie Sodji has been a key figure in organising the event.
People have to know how bad the club is in the situation of the club on the financial side. So we had an idea, and he said we'll get a all-star legend for Macclesfield Silkmen against the all-star ex-players for Premiership side. So I said, okay, yep, I'll be ready for that. So we decided to start getting all the people around, funding up players, organising mascots, just everything to get the game going.
The money raised from the fundraiser will primarily go towards keeping the club afloat, but current manager John Askey hopes the game is an enjoyable one, as well as it being vitally important in saving the Siltmen.
It's just important for the football club that obviously we get more money in, whatever way we do it, and I think this way of doing it, it gets supporters involved and all players, and so hopefully people will come along and watch it.
The game is being played here at the Moss Rose this Sunday, and organisers are hoping for a crowd of at least 3,000 people to help the club earn the £40,000 needed by the end of this month. And with the likes of James Beattie, Nicky Butt and Kevin Kilban all featuring for the Premier League All-Stars, it promises to be a fantastic event. This is Ellie Thomason reporting for Quays TV News.
In ice hockey, the Manchester Minotaurs, formerly known as the Trafford Metros, played the Whitley Bay Warriors at Altrincham Silver Blades this week. Abby Robinson reports.
Behind me stands Altringham's Silver Blades ice skating rink, where the newly named Manchester Minotaurs are taking on Whitley Bay in what promises to be a fierce competition as the 2013 NIHL Morley Conference continues. We stayed to watch the match and catch up with both players and fans afterwards.
Well, we had a pretty decent first period. We were on top most of the time. Definitely let ourselves down in the second. We had a terrible few games recently. We've been throwing away the lead and having to try and win our way back and not managing it.
It was my first game in today, so for me, I think I did really good.
In the middle of that second, it looked like it was all going downhill again, but came back in, had a good talk in the change room and really put the effort in the third period.
We pulled it back to a draw, so I guess that's a good thing. Obviously, there's always things you can work on, but I think I did as best I could today.
I don't know what it is. I just really like the sport. I like the atmosphere of it. I like the violence when there's a good fight. Winning, it's always good. I don't know, just it's different. It's not like football. Everyone watches football. Ice hockey's different.
We also spoke to the new manager, Neil King.
When I heard that there were changes happening with Manchester Minotaurs, I was quite happy to take up the reins and see what I could do to help. The backing to enable us to have the extra ice time gives us a huge advantage in terms of getting the players to know each other, play with each other on each of the lines, so that they know automatically where each other are going to be. They don't have to think where, they just pass the buck and the person's going to be there. And we saw that on time and time again on today's moves. It was rewarding to see.
This is Abby Robinson reporting for Quays TV News.
Now, heights may be scary for some, but with members of the British Mountaineering Council tripling in the last 25 years to over 75,000, it's not as scary as people expect. Cathy O'Dowd, who climbed to the peak of Mount Everest in 1996, gave an inspiring speech to members of the Manchester Climbing Centre.
The very first time I rock climbed, I must have been about 14. My first Everest ascent was from the south side via the route climbed by Edmund Hillary, and that was in May of 1996. I went back 2 years later in 98. We tried to climb the North Ridge. It all went wrong at about 8,600 meters, so that ended up as a failure. We went back a year later in 1999, and that time I got to the summit, which then made me the first woman in the world to have climbed Everest from both south and north sides.
Well, what a brave lady she is. Matt, would you be able to rock climb? Or have you ever tried it?
Well, I'm not too bad with heights actually, Jess. You know, I've been rock climbing a couple of times before. I've even done a skydive actually. So I've gone even higher than rock climbing.
Yeah.
But, you know, I do find, you know, when you're up there on those walls, you do kind of have to really try and remind yourself that you have got a harness on. Because when you slip, I mean, you really do fall on those things.
Absolutely. Did you practice before you did it the first time?
I can't remember. I haven't been for a long time. But I do remember the first time I got up there and sort of looked behind me and looked down. It was quite a daunting kind of experience.
Very, very brave. Well, that's all for the sport. You can get the full coverage on keysnews.net. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Jess. Now, with next week being National Cake Week, the charity Forever Manchester have launched Caketober to raise money for the area.
Businesses around Manchester are donning their aprons for charity by taking part in Caketober.
Caketober is a celebration of cake baking and fancy dress. Caketober is in aid of a great charity called Forever Manchester, which deals with all sorts of organisations across Greater Manchester. The money that you give very quickly goes down to grassroots organisations or smaller sub-charities, so it makes a big difference quite quickly.
While baking and selling cakes is the main ask of Caketober, some companies are going one step further and donning fancy dress for their event.
It's supposed to be Robin Hood and the elf, but no, the reality of it is we just thought lots of people coming to the office might not know us all, good way of identifying who we are, just a bit of fun, make the day a lot more high profile really. Essentially it was Al's idea, obviously. Al suggested to us that we'd want to do it, and it's really the charity that grabbed me. So I think Forever Manchester is fantastic in terms of the fact it's a local community. The idea of it being kind of the businesses in the city centre looking after the kind of less privileged outside the city centre really, so I just think it's a fantastic charity. This is really the pièce de résistance, if you can see that. This was baked by a lady who essentially we thought the idea would be that everybody in Manchester 1, as we've just moved here, could get involved in an auction which starts at 10 o'clock online on Twitter. And essentially the idea being it's a huge gingerbread house, all the tenants can bid for it and we can hopefully raise lots of money for Forever Manchester.
Caketober is running throughout the month of October. This is Siobhan Maguire, Quays TV News.
Now, experts have discovered a map from 1926 which may explain why Manchester has been nicknamed the Rainy City. And joining us today is our weather correspondent Helen Rowe Wilcox. Tell us more. Hi, Helen.
Hi. Well, basically they found a map from 1926 which shows that it shows basically how rainy it is in Manchester. But they seem to think that this could be why we've now got the perception that Manchester is the rainiest city in Britain, which actually isn't.
Okay, so how may this news affect people living here in Manchester?
Well, it actually could be really good. It could be really beneficial. People seem to have an opinion that Manchester's kind of dull and grey, and it might actually make more people want to come if they realise it's not quite as dull and as they think.
It's not dull, is it?
No, it's a great place.
There is a fair bit of rain, isn't there?
Actually, it's not. Well, yeah, there's a lot of rain in Britain. Let's face it, but
Manchester is drier than we all first thought,
yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. What's the weather like this week, Helen? Have you got any idea for us?
Yeah, it's going to be a really cold end to the week, so definitely wrap up warm if you're going out. But the north actually has it better than the south this weekend, so
brilliant.
It should be quite dry.
I mean, that temperature has really dropped.
Yeah, it's really dropped. It's going to be like 10 degrees maximum during the day, and it's going to drop to single figures. So
radiators on then, people. And that's all from us here at Quays TV. Remember, you can watch us every Friday at 1:30 p.m. on quaysnews.net and follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Goodbye.